Marvel Cosmic Invasion vs. Streets of Rage 4. Who is the king of the modern beat-em-up is an interesting comparison that forces us to look at the legacy and historical impact on the beat-em-up genre. Streets of Rage 4 is that direct revival of the golden age of Sega beat-em-ups. It carries all that classic vibe that marked a generation, updated with incredible graphics that respect the roots. You feel like you're playing something that serves as a bridge between the past and the present. A true love letter to the genre's old fans while trying to win over a new audience. Marvel Cosmic Invasion, on the other hand, brings something completely different to the scenario, with that heavy AAA Marvel license, which naturally attracts a giant fanbase. But instead of following the hyper-realistic line common in these games, Cosmic Invasion opts for modern pixel art, which is a charm in itself. Having Annihilus as the epic villain is practically a punch to the gut for anyone familiar with Marvel's cosmic stories. This choice creates an atmosphere that mixes nostalgia with novelty, referencing the roots of old-school games, but within the gigantic universe that is Marvel. In terms of hype, the matter is almost a cultural clash. Streets of Rage 4 has that strong emotional appeal because it revives a legacy that truly shaped the genre. It's that feeling of, how I missed this. On the other hand, Marvel Cosmic Invasion arrives as a surprise, a new alternative that not only wins over with the name, but by bringing something visually stylized and with a more expansive narrative. It's the type of game that creates hype for being grand and licensed, unlike the pure nostalgia that Streets of Rage emanates. Does the classic revival have more nostalgia than a AAA game that bets on pop culture iconography? For me, the nostalgia of Streets of Rage 4 is purer and more direct because it speaks to those who lived the 90s in arcades or classic consoles. Cosmic Invasion appeals to the nostalgia of Marvel fans, which can be just as strong, but is different and more comprehensive, mixing various reasons for nostalgia within modern geek culture. In the end, the answer can vary depending on who is playing. If you are a lover of the classic beat-em-up, Streets of Rage 4 will pull you straight into that feeling of good old longing, ready to punch everything in your path. If you are more of a fan of Marvel's expansive universes, Cosmic Invasion arrives with a unique style to revive that passion for pixel art, but with a grand touch of storytelling. When we talk about the character roster in Streets of Rage 4, it's clear that we are facing a true dream team of the classic beat-em-up. There are 17 iconic characters available, including the favorites from the original era, plus DLC content that came to further expand the list. The variety is not just in quantity, but in the way each fighter brings their own style and specialty, maintaining that feeling of street fighting games, with characters that seem straight out of a 90s action movie. In Marvel Cosmic Invasion, the vibe changes completely. Here, the roster is made up of 15 Marvel heroes, ranging from the classic Spider-Man and the Eternal Wolverine, to cosmic characters like Nova and Phoenix. The tag team mechanic, playing with two characters at a time, brings a very interesting and strategic dynamic, which moves away from the traditional street fight beat-em-up to something more elaborate and full of possibilities. It's a team that seems to have come straight out of the comics, pret-a-porter for intergalactic battles. The contrast between the Street Fighters team of Streets of Rage 4 and the band of cosmic superheroes of Marvel Cosmic Invasion is gigantic in terms of style and atmosphere. Streets of Rage 4 embraces the simplicity and charisma of characters with a realistic and raw feel, while Cosmic Invasion goes for the more fantastical, colorful, and epic side with its abilities and superpowers. Each represents a different type of attachment in the hearts of players. One more anchored in the nostalgia of fighting games, the other in the pop culture of superheroes. Who has the dream team then? It depends on what you value most. If you want that immediate connection with memorable characters and fighting styles that feel familiar, Streets of Rage 4 is unbeatable. But if you are a fan of expansive universes and spectacular abilities, where each character has their unique signature and the possibility of double combos, Cosmic Invasion is a superhero fan's paradise. Ultimately, both the SOR4 and Cosmic Invasion rosters have a lot to offer for different tastes. Whether it's the visceral combat of the streets, with characters you almost know personally, or the cosmic battles full of explosions and special powers, the Dream Team changes according to the type of fan you are. What matters is that both deliver variety and fun in their own way, and that, for those who enjoy beat-em-ups, is what truly counts. Analyzing the combat mechanics and innovation between Marvel Cosmic Invasion and Streets of Rage 4, one can clearly feel two distinct approaches that bring interesting elements to the genre. In Cosmic Invasion, combos are very fluid and natural, with special moves that impress with visual impact and variety. The icing on the cake is the Cosmic Swap, a quick hero exchange that allows a player to instantly switch between two characters, bringing a tactical and fun dynamic to the gameplay, especially in cooperative multiplayer, where the fluidity of the swap keeps the action always exciting and full of surprises. Streets of Rage 4, on the other hand, maintains a more classic system, but with a layer of innovation that is the Stars and Police system. This creates a constant sense of danger when playing, because if you overdo your attacks or cause too much confusion, the police appear to hinder you, which requires a balance between aggression and control. This mechanic adds strategic depth and an entirely different rhythm to the matches, especially in co-op, where players need to coordinate their movements well to avoid unwanted attention, making the experience both challenging and enjoyable. Testing the fluidity, Cosmic Invasion seems more agile and responsive, with the possibility of switching between heroes bringing a feeling of total control and constant variation in combat. The chained combos are more adaptable, and the use of specials, combined with the Cosmic Swap, makes the player feel in command of the battle, able to adjust the strategy as the confrontation progresses. This is especially evident in both solo and co-op matches, where the quick alternation keeps the experience fresh and full of energy. Streets of Rage 4, on the other hand, offers a more methodical, almost ritualistic combat, which requires precise timing and spatial awareness. The Stars/Police system acts as a moral compass for the player, encouraging calculated decisions. The damage inflicted by the combos is heavier, and the sense of power comes from the precision of the blows and the mastery of the mechanics. In co-op, this tension only increases because there's always the chance of unraveling teamwork with a false step, making the experience more tense and, for many, more rewarding. In general, Cosmic Invasion bets on speed, variability of exchanges, and a visually stylish combat, while Streets of Rage 4 focuses on control, calculated risk, and strategic depth. The fun and fluidity depend greatly on the player's style. For those who enjoy frantic action and versatility, Cosmic Invasion is unbeatable. For those who prefer a more tactical experience full of nuances, Streets of Rage 4 has its captive place. It's the beauty of the modern beat-em-up in its two most emblematic aspects. The stage design in Streets of Rage 4 carries all that nostalgia of classic urban streets, but with a modernization that is eye-catching. The stages have interesting branching paths, which gives a sense of freedom and replay value, as you can explore different routes and discover secrets that help break the monotony. The urban setting, with its dirty streets, dark alleys, and abandoned factories, works very well to create that street combat atmosphere, and each stage brings its own charm. In Marvel Cosmic Invasion, things are grander and more cosmic. The stages go from New York to the dreaded Negative Zone, jumping from planet to planet in a truly epic adventure. This interplanetary variety not only broadens the visual horizon, but also introduces varied and unique gameplay elements in each setting. The feeling of being on a space journey, facing dangers in completely different places, offers a hint of novelty that few beat-em-ups provide, especially with the modern pixel art approach that fits the theme very well. When it comes to environmental destruction, Streets of Rage 4 has that vivid and satisfying destruction, but still more focused on interaction with the scenery, such as objects that can be thrown and elements you can use to your advantage. Cosmic Invasion, on the other hand, takes this to another level, with scenarios that feel alive and react in a more explosive and varied way, such as areas that change as the heroes advance, and destruction that has a broader visual impact, reinforcing the feeling of epic battles. In the boss duel, scenes like Taskmaster and MODOK in Cosmic Invasion bring that vibe of classic Marvel villains, each with mechanics and attacks that require strategy and quickness from the players. They are charismatic and challenging, and each encounter feels like facing a real threat from the Marvel Universe. Streets of Rage 4 has the emblematic Mr. X, a villain who is practically the face of the series, with whom the battles are classic and full of nostalgia. Simpler visually, but intense in execution, reinforcing the street fighting and direct action atmosphere. The stage design and variety between the two games reflect their unique identities. SOR 4 delivers that familiar yet engaging urban and branching scenario, while Cosmic Invasion makes room for a visually varied and electrifying planet hopping. The environmental destruction and the charisma of the bosses show how each game bets on different ways of creating tension and fun. When we look at the enemies in Marvel Cosmic Invasion, the massive presence of the Annihilation Wave hordes really stands out. The sheer number of enemies that appear at the same time is impressive, bringing that feeling of being overwhelmed by relentless cosmic forces. The AI patterns of these hordes are designed to create a constant challenge, with enemies attacking in large, coordinated waves, forcing the player to adapt quickly, either solo or in co-op. This feeling of almost fighting a cosmic apocalypse is one of the game's high points. In Streets of Rage 4, the diversity of the gangs is what draws the most attention. The game brings varied enemies ranging from common thugs to special types with unique abilities and more sophisticated behaviors. The enemy waves are smaller compared to Cosmic Invasion, but each group has its own tactics and threats, which ensures tense and interesting gameplay. This variety makes each encounter unique, and the unpredictability of the gangs adds that spice that keeps the player always attentive and engaged. Speaking of the epicness of the finales, Cosmic Invasion maintains a very high level with bosses that seem taken directly from the pages of Marvel Comics. The fight against Annihilus, for example, is something that truly conveys the feeling of an epic battle against a universal threat, with attacks that test all your reflexes and strategy. The scale of the fight, the music, and the tension created make this ending a memorable experience that can give true chills to those who enjoy grand challenges. On the other hand, Streets of Rage 4 delivers finales that are classic, almost like a rematch against organized crime. The battle against Mr. X and the final confrontations in the streets synthesize the entire street fighting game atmosphere, with a lot of brute force and combos, but with an intensity that never diminishes. These final fights manage to be as exciting as they are epic, but in the raw and direct style, something that gives fans of those old games chills. So, thinking about which final fight gives the most chills, the answer varies greatly. If you like the grandeur, the feeling of being before a universal threat, and strategy working together, Annihilus in Cosmic Invasion is unbeatable. But if what gives you chills is the rematch in a street-style, blood-and-guts battle, with all that nostalgia of intense combat, Streets of Rage 4 delivers it masterfully. They are different experiences, but equally powerful for those who enjoy modern beat-em-ups. When it comes to graphics and pixel art, both Marvel Cosmic Invasion and Streets of Rage 4 do a simply spectacular job, but with approaches that reflect their distinct universes. Streets of Rage 4 bets on hand-drawn pixel art, which is unique and extremely detailed. Every character, scenario, and animation seems to have been carefully designed to convey personality and fluidity, almost like an animated painting in motion. It's the kind of art that not only honors the 16-bit era, but also stands out as something own and modern. Marvel Cosmic Invasion heavily invests in pixel art that is faithful to Marvel Comics, and this makes all the difference in the game's visual impact. The characters, with their vibrant colors and design architected to precisely resemble the comic book versions, carry a very strong identity, almost as if you were playing a living comic book story. The backgrounds have that detail-rich cosmic feel, which helps transport the player to the different Marvel universes with ease. Putting them side by side, the animations of Streets of Rage 4 are incredibly fluid, with movements that look natural and an expression that gives life to the characters. The game uses lighting and shadow effects subtly, yet effectively, to increase immersion without losing the retro charm. The fidelity to the original pixel art style, however, gets an upgrade with a design that brings modernity and respect for the roots. On the other hand, Cosmic Invasion also doesn't disappoint with elaborate animations and visual effects that highlight the hero's powers. Each special move gains impressive effects, such as glow, explosions, and particles that make the combat look like a visual spectacle. The art maintains a great fidelity to the comics, which is one of the main attractions for Marvel fans seeking high-quality pixel art representation. The decision between the pixel art of Streets of Rage 4 and Marvel Cosmic Invasion will depend on what enchants you the most. The delicacy and charm of the hand-drawn, almost a moving work of art, or the powerful and faithful representation of the Marvel Universe that brings its heroes and villains to life in pixel. Each is an aesthetic victory in its own way, showing how pixel art can be versatile and expressive in modern beat-em-ups. The soundtrack is an essential part of any beat-em-up, and both Streets of Rage 4 and Marvel Cosmic Invasion hit the mark in this aspect, but in very different ways. Streets of Rage 4 brings back that legendary soundtrack by Yuzo Koshiro, remixed with a modern take that keeps the energy through the roof. It's impossible not to feel the impact of those classic electronic beats reverberating as you punch enemies through the streets. This music immediately puts you in the mood and, honestly, makes you want to punch harder just to keep up with the frantic rhythm. Marvel Cosmic Invasion bets on a soundtrack that mixes rock with cosmic electronic music, which perfectly matches the game's intergalactic universe. The music has a futuristic and spatial vibe, with layers that vary between the most intense and the most ambient, creating an auditory immersion that transports you inside that epic battle against the forces of the Annihilation Wave. The combat loops have enough energy not to tire you out and help keep the adrenaline high, but with a different touch than the classic electronic music that SOR 4 delivers. Comparing the two, the loop of the Streets of Rage 4 soundtrack is more aggressive and direct, especially in the combat phases, the kind of music that feels like you're going to blow everything up just to not lose the rhythm. In contrast, the Marvel Cosmic Invasion soundtrack has a more atmospheric feel, combining well with the game's theme and the variety of spatial scenarios, but still maintaining the strength to be used as fuel in battles. In my case, the Streets of Rage 4 soundtrack truly makes me punch harder, because it appeals to that root of street fighting games, full of pure nostalgia and adrenaline. It's a beat that makes my blood boil and puts me in a kind of trance, where the punch button seems to respond on its own. On the other hand, Marvel Cosmic Invasion keeps me focused and excited, pulling more towards the side of immersion and spatial strategy, rather than the pure instinct of combat. In the end, they are soundtracks that work very well for their respective games, and the choice between the pure adrenaline of Streets of Rage 4 or the cosmic electronic atmosphere of Cosmic Invasion depends on what you are looking for when playing. Want to feel the classic power of the street beat-em-up with music that ignites your spirit? Streets of Rage 4 is your answer. Want to get lost in a space adventure with a soundtrack that wraps around every blow? You can bet on Cosmic. Both, however, raise the standard of what a good beat-em-up should deliver in terms of sound immersion. Marvel Cosmic Invasion and Streets of Rage 4 offer multiplayer experiences that further strengthen the fun of modern beat-em-ups, with up to 4 players both locally and online. In testing, the fluidity of the multiplayer in both is important for the experience, but their approaches bring different nuances. Cosmic Invasion features online tag team, which adds a strategic layer during co-op, as quickly swapping between heroes becomes a crucial part of group play. This mechanic makes playing with friends dynamic and full of surprises, especially in more challenging combats. Streets of Rage 4, in turn, is very solid in what it delivers online and locally, maintaining that classic spirit that fans love. The survival mode, which is exclusive to SOR 4, brings extra fun for groups looking for hours of challenge and competition among themselves, testing skills and strategies in endless waves of enemies. In terms of balancing, the game is very fair, with each character having their space to shine without the need to overlap others. Regarding lag, both games perform well, but it's clear that the online experience can always vary depending on the quality of the connection. Even so, the structure of both games prioritizes combat fluidity, which is essential for not breaking the frantic rhythm typical of the genre. These optimizations are an important differential for those who enjoy playing in a group, whether on the couch or online. If the goal is to play with friends, Cosmic Invasion surprises by bringing a strategic touch through the tag team, which encourages communication and coordination in the group. Streets of Rage 4 delivers that classic cooperative experience, easy to pick up and addictive, with extra modes that extend the fun and increase replay value, especially for groups who love more intense challenges. Overall, Both games are perfect for playing with friends, but each in its own style. Cosmic Invasion has the advantage of innovation in cooperative mechanics and strategic variety, while SOR 4 is the safe bet for those who want that nostalgic feeling, combined with game modes that guarantee entertainment for hours. In any case, group fun is 100% guaranteed in both. When we talk about difficulty and replayability in Streets of Rage 4, the game delivers a very balanced experience that challenges without frustrating. The arcade and survival modes are particularly good for this, offering infinite runs that test your skills to the limit, with scores to motivate you to improve more and more. Furthermore, the free DLCs that have arrived further expanded the content, adding characters and challenges that keep the game fresh and attractive for a long time, especially for those who like to explore everything the game has to offer. In Marvel Cosmic Invasion, the focus on achievements and leaderboards brings a competitive layer that contributes to replayability, encouraging the player to improve their performances and strategies to achieve better rankings. The infinite runs within the arcade mode ensure that the challenge never ends, something essential for games of the genre that need to maintain public interest in the long term. In addition, the hero customization options offer good variability in gameplay, allowing each run to have a unique touch and for the player to personalize their combat style. The difficulty in Cosmic Invasion is well adjusted for those who like a consistent challenge, with enemies that become more aggressive and complex as you advance, especially in infinite runs. The feeling of progression in the game is strong, and this helps maintain motivation to keep playing. The customization system adds an extra layer of strategy because you can build your character to fit your playing style, which makes each attempt a slightly different experience. Streets of Rage 4, with its extra content and varied modes, gives that classic feeling that makes you want to return to the game repeatedly. The refined combat, along with the scores, encourages the player to seek perfection, while the free DLCs tie this up with new features that expand the game's universe without charging anything extra. This generosity in content helps keep the community alive and ready to binge the game for quite some time. All in all, both games deliver modes and extra content that value replayability, each with its peculiarities. Streets of Rage 4 is the right choice for those who want that balance between nostalgia and content that never stops growing, with classic challenges that never age. Marvel Cosmic Invasion focuses on innovation and personalization for those who like a more progressive and competitive challenge, with that spatial twist that only Marvel knows how to give. Whatever your style, both games guarantee endless hours of fun and challenges. When we get to the value and final verdict between Marvel Cosmic Invasion and Streets of Rage 4, it's clear that we are facing two games that shine each in their own way. Streets of Rage 4 consolidated its legacy as one of the best modern beat-em-ups, a true work of respect that successfully rescued the soul of the classics and brought innovation without losing the essence. Its price, fair for a complete game with free DLCs, and availability on multiple platforms make it an easy choice for those who want to enter the world of quality beat-em-ups guaranteed. The future of Marvel Cosmic Invasion seems promising, especially for bringing a powerful license like Marvel to the genre, something rarely seen with such fidelity and style. Its competitive price and platform versatility make the game accessible, and the bet on modern pixel art alongside the cosmic universe provides a huge differential, pointing to potential growth as the game gains more content and community support. In terms of content, Streets of Rage 4 delivers depth, variety, and that affection that only a game with a legacy can have. Marvel Cosmic Invasion shines for innovation, with mechanics like Cosmic Swap and a vibrant universe that can attract a different audience, more connected to pop culture and the Marvel universe. This duality makes both games valuable to the genre, with distinct proposals and audiences. To crown the king of the modern beat-em-up, the question lingers: is the king the one who revives history in the purest and most nostalgic form, or the one who brings freshness and innovation with a giant license? This dispute makes room for debates and votes that reflect different tastes and styles, making everything more interesting for fans of the genre. That's why I leave it here for you, who are passionate about beat-em-ups, to vote in the comments. Who is the king of the modern beat-em-up? Streets of Rage 4, with its solid legacy and refined gameplay, or Marvel Cosmic Invasion, with its cosmic vibe and innovation? The battle is launched, and the final game will be decided by you. Tell me everything in the comments, and see you next time.
Even a goddess needs to eat. Need to focus my mind.
Blade vortex.
Power flows within me.
Next time, try harder.